Elapsed Time, Part 2. In our first video, we learned how to use jumps in order to solve all different kinds of elapsed times problems. Well, a lot of fourth graders really want to use addition and subtraction in order to solve the same kinds of problems, but sometimes they get weird answers like 12 hours and 70 minutes or 13:56. And so this video is to help you gain some strategies to use addition and subtraction if you choose to use it. And I just want you to note that you should proceed with caution if you're going to use this method, but this video gives you some ideas of what to do with strange answers like this. So each slide we're going to talk about a different strategy, and you're going to see one of the problems that we saw in the last video and solve it again with a different method. So this is the story where you were going to your cousin, somebody was going to their cousin's house, and they needed to be there. At 5:15. Their trip was going to take 3 hours and 45 minutes, including the time to get a present, and they needed to know what time to start. So you can subtract time when you are moving backwards in time. Notice how we're going backwards in order to get a start time. So I'm going to subtract my elapsed time, that's 3 hours and 45 minutes, from my end time, which is 5:15, to get a start time. If needed, I will borrow 1 hour and turn it into 60 minutes. So I will need to borrow in this problem, because I can't take away 45 from 15. And you also can't borrow like normal, because this 5 is not worth 500. It's worth, each hour in that 5 is worth 60 minutes. So watch what we're going to do here. I'm going to borrow an hour, I'm going to take away an hour. But then I think that that hour is worth 60 minutes. So I'm going to send over 60 minutes to here and add plus 60. When I add 60 minutes over there, it becomes 75 minutes. Now I can subtract. 5 minus 5 is 0. 7 minus 4 is 3. 4 minus 3 is 1. This tells me that I need to start my trip at 1:30. And I didn't cross over into the AM, so it would be 1:30 p.m. Next is the subtract from 12, then add strategy. And this is the story where you went to the airport at 9:55 and you were there until 2:15 because your flight was late. And we wanted to know how much time was spent in the airport. We're going to use this strategy when you are finding an elapsed time that passes over a 12 o'clock, either noon or midnight. So we are passing noon here, so this strategy will work. Basically what we're going to do is find out how long it is until noon. We're going to find out this amount by subtracting backwards, and then we're going to add this amount to it. So we're going to find out of this piece and this piece. So I'm going to subtract the start time, that would be 9:55, from 12. So that's helping me find the length from here to here, the elapsed time from there. Borrow 1 hour and make it 60 minutes as needed. And I do need to do that in this example because I can't take away 55 minutes from 0 minutes. So I'm going to think about taking 1 hour from the 12, that'll make it 11, and then I'm going to take that hour and turn it into minutes, which is 60 minutes. So I'm going to add the 60 minutes here. So this becomes 60 minutes now, and I can subtract that. 60 minutes minus 55 minutes is 5 minutes, and I could have borrowed like normal there. I could turn that into a 5 and turn that into a 10. Then 11 minus 9 is 2. So that means from here to here, it's 2 hours and 5 minutes. Now it says I'm going to add that answer, the 2 hours and 5 minutes, to the end time, because it is 2 hours and 15 minutes that passes from noon to 2:15. So that's why I can add this plus these 2 hours and 15 minutes. So I'm going to copy this answer over here and go ahead and add them. 5 plus 5 is 10, carry the 1, and that means that I was in the airport for a total of 4 hours and 20 minutes. Let's remember that 4 hours and 20 minutes and see if we get the same answer using the same problem but a different strategy. We're going to think about military time. In military time, when you get to 12 noon and then you go to 1 o'clock p.m., instead of going to 1 o'clock p.m., you just keep counting up in the hours. So 1 p.m. is really 13, then 2 p.m. is 14, and you can find out what the military time is by adding 12 to any time. So I can use this military time strategy when I'm going between a.m. and p.m. Remember that 12 noon is here, and we're switching over from a.m. to p.m. So my first step is going to be to add 12 hours to the p.m. time. So I have 2:15 p.m. If I add 12 hours to that, here I'm doing this problem here, I got 14:15 as the time. Then I said this is what 2:15 is in military time. Now I'm going to subtract as normal and remember to borrow by turning my hours into 60 minutes. So I'm going to subtract the 4:15 minus 9:55, and that'll tell me the elapsed time there. So I can't do 15 minus 55, so I'm going to borrow an hour, turn that 14 hours into 13, and that 1 hour becomes plus 60 minutes. 60 plus 15 would make 75. 5 minus 5 is 0. 7 minus 5 is 2. 13 minus 9 is 4. And I got, again, 4 hours and 20 minutes, the same answer I got using a different strategy. One last strategy is that we can add time. The last three have been subtracting. We can add time when we're moving forward, going this way on the timeline, and you need to know an end time. So when you're given a start time and you're given an elapsed time and need to know an end time. Remember, this is the story where you are going to your grandma's house and you're trying to be there in time for dinner. You left at 11:20. Google Maps said it's going to take you this long, and you want to know what time you're going to get there. So it says to add the start time and the elapsed time. I'm going to add this and this. So let's go ahead and do that. 5, and 17. 17:55. Okay, kind of a weird time. We've heard about military time, so we might be able to figure it out. If you get more than 12 hours, which happened, subtract 12 hours. So adding 12 hours will turn it into military time. Subtracting 12 hours will help it go back to what we're used to. So if I take away 12 hours, it's going to turn into 5:55, which means we are going to get there at 5:55 p.m. If I had gotten more than 60 minutes here, if this total had been bigger than 60, then I needed to subtract 60 minutes and add that to 1 hour. So we're working backwards. So for example, if you had done an addition problem and got 270, we can't have 70 minutes. So you'd want to take away 60 minutes, which is an hour, and send that over to add an hour over here. So you would go up an hour, which would become 3 hours, and then, or 3 o'clock, and then taking away 60 minutes from the 70 minutes would make 10. So 270, if you've got that as a time, would translate into 3:10. So I just want you to really proceed with caution, no joke. Proceed with caution when using addition and subtraction of time. Always check your work with jumps, because there are even more instances that I didn't talk about in this video, and I just want you to be sure to double check your work with jumps, because that's always going to work.